Hello and welcome. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to have a look at Dreams. So, Dreams is a song I made, and it's been released with Ace Face Records. All the links are in the description. So, we're going to have a look at how I made this track from scratch. It should be the whole project in a video. Press like, subscribe, and the bell notification. The song idea was very simple. It's based off four notes, these four. I worked around with different things and I liked how this sounded. I was aiming for synthwave fusion with maybe a house feel, also with a kind of a chill out vibe. So from there, I did a few different things. There was this one which is very similar, except it repeats itself backwards. Um, Again, it's a very simple thing. I liked it. And then this is like the first one, but reversed. Brings more contrast into the video. Quite nice. Let's go over to the leads. Actually, before I do that, let's have a look. The main VSTs was called, this one's called Factory, and the preset I started off with was called Warm Sync. Okay. Then let's have a look at the main lead. By the way, just keep in mind, all the sounds you're hearing right now is dry. All the effects are off, as you can see here. So you're hearing the very raw sound, the same type of sound I would have heard when I was making the track. So you can get to hear what I heard, and then we'll go into the mixing side after we've done all the patterns. So from here, we're going to have a look at the lead. They're very nice. Glide Saw comes with this plugin. I did the automation. It was much lower, 60, so it was around 20. Like that. So I did turn it up a bit. From there, there's a few different variations where you can see there's a gap there in that one. So from there we have an effect, right, which is called a darkness code. If you've listened to my EP called Darkness, this was the main sound that created that entire album. Just one pad. This one very dark pad created that entire EP. Without this one sound, that album wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be made at all. So I've wanted to bring that sound back into this track. So it keeps a bit of that orchestral dark feel that I have, but still introduces it with different genre as well. So the intro is very unusual. So from there we have the kick, which is coming from FPC under house presets. Simple, simple kick. The hi-hats, which is kind of like a white noise sound, comes from June 2 again, the hi-hat preset, and just open up the cutoff a lot more. Then we have the claps. The claps is unusual. So if you make a note long, the sound is short. But if you make a note very short, there's a huge after effect or after touch. Over here now we're at the synth bass. This one's an ARP. And it works very nice. So that works very, very well. Cut off, turned it down a bit, made it a little bit deeper. That was it. Didn't change any of the other effects. I liked it as it is. Then we come towards the piano. Now there's two plugins for this. They're both the same. There's two different channels. And then the one underneath that is the bass line. I separated them because I needed the sound to be pure. Adding the bass line into that one plugin would have muddied up the low ends of the lower note, so I separate them out. And together. And I EQ them separately as they're in two different channels. As you can see here, that's the low one, that's the high one. The low one is being routed into the high one, which has all the effects. And then it goes into this one to apply for Endless Miles effect, which is the bus. Alright. We have two different variations. We have another piano with broken bass line. It works very well, kind of builds up the atmosphere a bit more. From there we have a few different bass lines. This is the first one I made. You probably know the sound very well. It's from NI Massive. It's called Brutal Electro True. I changed a lot of the parameters in this. Now, if you go to the preset, it'll sound very similar to it, but it's not exactly the same. There's a lot more deeper growl sound to it. So in the beginning of the track, I had a bass line. It's there in the main song, but it's at a very low level. It's like a heartbeat kind of idea. And you do get to hear, but it's a very submissional sound. Now I have it turned up for this video, but it's normally a lot lower. We have the second part of the pianos. These bottom halves are the same. It's the top one that's different. It's called 1,000 Plucks. Alright, so that's the end of the patterns. Let's have a look at the project. Okay, so this is the final project. Listen to this. Okay, it's a really nice intro, okay, and it comes into a build-up here. So the build-up itself is quite simple. It has a semantics. I really like semantics. A lot of people dislike them, but I really enjoy buying their stuff. This one is build-ups. This pattern. Can I preset this? I preset. Can I pre-listen? You know, it's exactly what I wanted. With that, I have some Kishmir or Kishmar. Uprises and downs. I use a lot of Kishmar stuff. He's wonderful. Now, I can make my own samples. I have done already in the past, but for this project, his stuff really was perfect for what I needed. Okay, so from there, it's a very basic kind of structure. So from here, we have the first part, and then it goes into a break, which could be a build-up, right, if you want to keep it like that. I call it a break. So it has build-up pads and there's vocal parts here. Again, it's super nice. Again, keep in mind there is no effects are on at this moment. Okay, pretty raw sound. Now, from the intro coming up to this part, this is where the heavy stuff comes in. So if you do beforehand, once again, you didn't have much low end, but when it comes in, we have the synth bass going, given their automation here. Synth bass going, we have the growl bass going, we have the growl. There's a few automations for that we'll have a look at. Those two alone is really heavy, but it's clean. You know, we'll look into mixing later on how I did that, but it's super cool. It's like a wow factor, and it changes a little bit on the last part where I add in the piano, and then from there there's another kind of build up to a D drop, a proper drop. Now this whole piece here is not like the rest of the track. It's a festival drop. You put your hands together, like she says. This is kind of like the crowd pleaser. So we're gonna have a quick look at this. So I chopped up the kicks a bit. So I took off the end one. 4, 1, 2, 3, gap. Then repeats. Same with the melody. I chopped off the end notes. I know it loops a lot longer, but I chopped up to the first one. I chopped off the end of that one. It looks like this. You know, I think that's pretty cool. You hear it in different music, like Melbourne Bounce and stuff like that. I want to introduce it into this track as well. Growl here. We have listen to this. You can hear it breathing and then stops. When the effects and stuff on, that intensifies hugely. Right, and then from underneath that, then we have some samples. So we have Kishmer, top loop. And that was recommended actually to put something else in to fill it in to make it more energy. So without this piece, for example, with it brings more energy, brings like it's a live drop. Now these samples here, again, it's coming in from my orchestral background. It's a war horn, which is unusual to hear in this type of song, but I wanted to stick it in to kind of like give it a huge impression. So we have a nice drop, a nice build up. Something is changing. People should be super happy, and the drop comes in, and it's like a festival drop, you know. With that, then there's 2 downfalls, and then a big sweep downfall, and that loops from there. It loops back in. So after the huge drop, we go into something a little bit softer. So wait, from this point here, it builds back up for drop number 2. Now, drop number 2 is not the same. It's similar, as you can see here. The difference is the lead stops after the first pattern, and then something interesting comes in. My own recording of lead guitar. we have the lead guitar, and that's pretty cool. But where to go from there? Do I go back into something that sounds like this? No. I'll bring back that festival feel. Slightly different, there's a bit more vocals going through that, or vocal shouts. Then coming towards the end of the track itself, which is, you know, a standard exit for kind of a house track. Now, like I said before, keep in mind there is no rack effects being played. It's completely dry. Now we're going to go have a look at the mixing. And it's going to be interesting. We're going to have some fun looking at the mixing. And if you've just joined us, please press like to the video and subscribe. So we're going to turn on the effects one by one. So here's this channel. The effects on the master was just a limiter and an EQ. Okay, so we'll turn some of these off first. We'll go through each one. So the first one we have here is a Fruity FLP cutoff, which is a filter. Very simple thing, and it introduced the lead on different points. Underneath that, then we have a Fruity flangeless. That gives you a kind of a nice sound to it, side to side. Underneath that, we have reverb. And we're using a preset called Smooth Cathedral, which is a very wide kind of sound. Not too much of that because you can get a huge amount of feedback from that as well. Underneath that, I wanted a bit more wideness, so we have the Fruity Sharpener preset called Stereoizer 3. Works wonderfully. So now it's much wider. Underneath that, we have the roll off. And it only comes in once or twice, but we'll get to that in a second. And then we have an EQ on the bottom, which is a low cut up to 290 hertz. Put it on. Cleans that sound hugely. Takes away that low end. Listen to it again. And again. No more lower sound. It's nice and clean for the top. And then for this one. Alright, so this is a dark sound. All it has is an EQ roll off on either end. Very simple. Roll off at the end because it was too heavy, and roll off at the top I didn't want it too sharp. That was it for that. The kick. Okay. That's on. So we have a limiter on the bottom with sidechaining. Okay. Above that we have EQ. My structure for EQing and stuff, there is a structure. We have a cutoff, and we have two EQs, and above that we can have the filters and the effects in that order. Okay. So cutoff. Here's the first EQ, which is a cutoff, nothing past. On this one, it's 50 hertz. Okay, and then the one above that is the EQ, which is a boost in 45 hertz, but it's the area back here of the roll up that counts more, and then there's a dip here in 4,582 kilohertz, -2, we'll say 3 dB. It was a bit punchy at the end. I just need to, soften it a bit. And then we have a fast LP for cutoff again. And then we have this plugin. Now, I'm a big waves user. This is called a C6 sidechain stereo. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's sidechain compression, but it's epic. It's better than Kickstart. It's better than other stuff. In my opinion, this is my favorite one. Yeah, I have some here. but the main stuff is happening in here. The hi-hats, a little bit dip here in the onboard EQing. Of course, there's automation for it as well. So that's the original sound, and with the gross beat, nice and clean taps. It's a lot. It's nice in certain parts of the song. Claps on. So we have the reverb again. This is the default one, or the default preset. And then we have a cutoff. A cutoff lows at 192 and highs of 13K. But let's turn off the effect, the EQ. Turn it on. It's cleaner. It's much cleaner. Then a limiter with a gate or noise gate. Because there's too much high hiss at the end of the small one. Right. So if I turn that off, turn it on, much cleaner. So from there we have a look at this. So it's a big difference. So this sounds like it's mono. It sounds like mono, doesn't it? We'll put this on. Now it's a huge stereo room. So in here we have a limiter with a little bit more gain. There's a little bit of compression here. A little bit of compression. EQ, we have a roll off coming at about 160 and a slight dip here in 3K hertz. A little bit of a sound. It could be true white noise, but it was a bit too loud in the section. We have EQ, which is almost a roll up over the 8K mark. Give it the clarity. That's the clarity area. And then we have the endless smiles on that channel. That gives it that huge airy feel. Which is super cool. And then on top of that we have a fast LP. Again, it's just a cutoff. Can't really explain anything more on it. Okay, so here's the synth bass. Very simple. We have a multi-band compressor, and we're boosting the mids and highs, making a nice warmer kind of sound. So without it, with it, so it's giving brightness to the actual sound itself and a bit more warmth. Above that we have the EQ, which is it says cutoff there at 70 hertz and a cutoff there at 12,000 kilohertz, and we have a cutoff on the very top. It's slight EQing here, but it's very slight over the mids and lows. From there we have the pianos. So we're gonna have a look at the first one. Now let's do it. That's without effects. With effects. Okay, so we're going to take this one first. On the bottom we have a limiter. Nothing on it, just a visual. Then we have a cutoff here at 60 hertz. And then we have an EQ, which is boosting over the clarity area, which is at this moment 7K, and a slight boost here as well over 80 hertz. And then we have this. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this, and a lot of people use it as a meme, but you know what? It actually worked quite well. Let's do it without this plugin. And the width. It gave it a lot more clarity. And one little thing, instead of using another EQ or two or more to, you know, make something similar. Now I'll add the bass in on that one. So without and the width, It's that like 5-10% more clarity. It's on D and it's only about 4 little notches. We have in the smiles. Again, it's just a soft envelope or fist in the air preset. It's nice. And then we have, again, a nice waves plugin. This is JJP. This is the strings and piano, or strings and keys. Piano and piano preset here, or piano 1. Tweaking the lows and comp. That was all I had to do with it. So without this, and with, gives you the compression, makes it louder, makes it cleaner, makes it lovely. Absolutely ear candy. So from there we have the growl bass. With the effects on. Top half has been stripped and it's nice low sound. So we have an EQ with compression. Then here we have a cutoff. So nothing really in the whole mix is going past 30 hertz. Then we have a side chain, a heavy side chain when it turns on. But we'll get to that in a second when I go back to the playlist. Again, we have a cutoff, which is at 50%. Then we have the sidechain. So right in this middle area of 64 and 120 hertz, it's sidechaining that huge low end. It's ear candy. And then we have the heartbeat, and with effects on. A bit cleaner. We have a roll off at the top and roll off at the bottom. This is rolling off here at 31, and then this is rolling off here at 5K. So then we have the pluck. Okay, so here's the pluck without anything, and with. So we have a huge cutoff here at the low end, up to almost 500 actually, 425 hertz. Huge cut from sub, bass, and mid low or low mids are being cut off. Absolutely wonderful. So we have a smooth cathedral once again, and we have the sharpener on top. All right, so that's the end of mixing for the patterns. Now let's have a quick look then at the rest of the track. Just the build up has a widener against the one preset. If you ever see this on my screen, it's only used for this one preset. Stereo Eisner 3. That's the only thing I like about this one plugin. And then we have default reverb. And let's put stuff on. The effects down below here. It just has grow speed for side chaining. Super cool. Some of these don't even have anything, just slight EQing, some panning and volume is all they needed. And it's just slight EQ up here, and that's all it is. Alright, so let's look at these. That is pure ear candy. Could be a little bit heavier, but you hear that side chaining going on. So that with, where's the other one? Ear candy. That's what that is. And then it's similar the whole way down. If we have a look at this one here, with this, we can hear the top synth bass in its own zone, very, very cleanly away from the lower, muddier. Well, I won't say muddier. It's clean mud, and it's nothing going past 30 hertz, but it works very well. I think of the trumpet, war horn. At different times, if we listen to this here, this one here, it has a gross beat, which has a trans gate on it. Has a cutoff, slightly open. It's like, again, it's there at 30 hertz. Nothing's going lower than 30. EQ just to watch the loudness of it. There's that clap we had looked at before, and it's just reverb on it and some EQ. So let's have a quick look at the vocals. So delay 2 on a very echo, and there's EQ, which is a preset called vocal pressure or presence. That's all that is. That's pretty much the track. Before you go, leave a comment on what you think. If there's anything I can improve on, if I haven't explained that more, I can do another video, or maybe I can explain it through comments. Press like, share the video, subscribe. Links are in the description. You can go and hear the final track, and have a good day.